Welcome, gamers, weebs, and nerds alike. JRPGs have been growing in popularity in recent years, and with some absolutely amazing ones both already released and yet to come this year, what better time than now to go through some of the best modern JRPGs. Make sure to subscribe for more geek content, and let's get into it. First on the list, we have Persona 5 Royal. If you've seen some of our other videos, you know Persona 5 Royal is one of my favorite games of all time. Persona 5 is one of the best stories I've played in gaming, with some very good social commentary and outstanding turn-based combat. The combat always felt fresh, with it being easy to switch between personas and acquire new ones. There was a good balance between life sim and dungeon crawling that never left you bored, and the additions in Royal, like the grappling hook, unlimited ammo, and the dungeon seeds, all help make the game that much more seamless. The characters are all well written, not to mention voice acted, even smaller characters like the social links. And don't even get me started on one of the best soundtracks in gaming. All around, this game has very little flaws and stands as a testament to what a darn near perfect JRPG could look like. Now, almost a complete 180, we have Octopath 2, which has an absolutely gorgeous 2D HD art style and improved in a lot of ways over the first game. The biggest is actually having the characters interact with each other, which made it feel a lot less weird and straight up awkward with the characters being together. The addition of the day and night cycle, as well as traveling by boat, added a whole new layer of exploration to this game. A lot of the characters feel more fleshed out and have more interesting stories, with my personal fear of it being Oswald the Scholar, because I love a good old story of revenge and mystery. The gameplay is fun, with turn-based combat and needing to strategize at higher levels to target weaknesses. I'm surprised a bit that fewer people talk about this game, but if you want a solid JRPG that is a swan song to older titles, definitely pick this one up. Now we got Atelier Ryza. This is a bit more recent of a title, as I had heard of the Atelier series before, but I never really looked into it, especially because there are so many games, and I didn't even know where to start. However, I picked this one after reading some reviews, and I am so glad I did. I know 3 is probably the best of the Ryza trilogy, but since I haven't played it, I'll base it off the first 2, which I think 1 has the stronger story. It is your typical story trope of a group of friends discovering a hidden art, in this case alchemy, and having to use it to save their home. All of the characters are reasonably likable, and the story has a pretty good pace to it. It does kind of suck that the game has no English dub, but that's really kind of the only issue I ever had with it. The biggest draw to these games is the alchemy system, which has you crafting items to get new ones so you can use those to make new ones, and so on and so forth. You get the materials from monsters, gathering tools, fishing, quests, and even farming. The system is extremely deep and can get you hooked for hours on end. The combat is also a mesh of turn-based and real-time, where you have to time your spells, attacks, items, etc. While 2 improves a lot in terms of gameplay, it does lack a bit in story, but this is definitely one of the best relaxing JRPGs in recent memory. So, technically, Pal World is a JRPG, as it does have RPG mechanics like leveling and choosing skills for your pals, and it is made by a Japanese developer. I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this game that hasn't been said a million times by a million other people. The gameplay loop is fun and interesting, the base building has a good amount of depth, and very few bases look alike. Each pal has their pros and cons, and the endgame allows for some really cool looking pals and fights. I'm excited to see where this game goes, but for now it is one of the more fun games you can play in 2024, and for a really good price of $30 or free if you have Game Pass. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is obviously the newest game on this list, and while I haven't beaten the game, I do think it is one of the most fun and unique JRPGs I've played. The story is a little difficult to follow in my opinion, but all the characters like Barret, Tifa, Aerith, Red, Cloud, and more all shine even more than in Remake. The open areas are filled with enough stuff to make you want to explore and gather materials, but not too much to bog you down. All the mini-games from Queen's Blood, I really do love my card games, the exercises, the world intel you gather for Chadley, and more are all fun, and as the game progresses they evolve and change just enough to make them feel new again. The synergy abilities are all really cool, the summons are neat, and being able to level them up is awesome. The crafting system is actually extremely helpful and saves you a lot of gil. The chocobos are adorable as always, and extremely fun to ride and customize. And of course, the soundtrack is amazing, and this game looks absolutely gorgeous on PS5. All around, this game deserves its 9 plus and 10 out of 10s, and I'm sure the next time we do this list, its main competitor for 2024 Game of the Year will also be on here. Next we got NieR Automata. This game has received a lot, and I mean a lot of praise since it came out, and I didn't get around to playing it till about 2 years ago. But after playing it, I have to agree that this is a masterclass of a game. The combat is fast paced and keeps you on your toes, especially on higher difficulties. The music is some of the best you will hear in any game. The artwork and designs are interesting and just downright cool looking at times. And the story keeps you guessing and wanting to learn more and more. To my understanding, the game needs to be beaten 3 times to completely see everything. First as 2B, then as 9S, and then as A2, which just makes you want to keep playing the game over and over again to get the full picture. The game has received a lot of praise, and rightfully so, leaving it as one of the best JRPGs of all time, especially in modern memory. Now for one that is not probably as well known as most of the other titles on this list, and that's Ys 9 Monstrum Knox. Kinda like Final Fantasy, you don't need to have played previous titles in order to play this one, but if you do, there are some cool Easter eggs to find. The story is interesting, with Adel needing to get together a group of people known as the Monstrums, who are people cursed and given an ability but can't leave the city until they save it. What really draws people to these games, however, is the exploration and combat. Each monstrum you meet gives you a new ability that you can use to explore the area, from gliding, wall climbing, turning to a shadow, etc. Each one opens up new possibilities for exploring. The combat is also fast-paced and exciting, with it being easy to switch between characters, each one having a unique fighting style and cool ultimate abilities. After playing this and Ys 8, I really wish these games had more recognition because they are a lot of fun to play. Now for Persona 3 Reload, another game that came out this year just like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I think it has a good case of being one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. Like every other Persona game, it has an amazing soundtrack. Do yourself a favor and just go listen to it. The turn-based combat system and the theurgy abilities are awesome and really cool to look at and use. I like the tarot card shuffle at the end of combats if you've downed enough enemies or ended on an all-out strike, especially with each use of the tarot cards like Magician Lovers giving bonus effects in Tartarus. Outside of the dungeon crawling, I really enjoy most of the social links. I think Elizabeth might be my favorite Velvet Room attendant. And the main cast is really likable, and it's a lot of fun doing dorm activities with them to unlock new abilities, plant new things, and grow your social stats. This game is a bit darker than the other 2 popular Persona games in 4 and 5, especially with how you summon your Persona. I haven't finished the game yet, but right now I think it's going to come really close in most aspects to Persona 5 Royal when it's all said and done. Second to last, we got Tales of Arise. The Tales of franchise has been around for a very, very long time. However, this game was the first time I really kind of got into it. Like Ys, it has a very fun and rewarding combat system, and the ease of switching characters and the use of their ultimate abilities just adds to the fun of the game. The story isn't anything unique, as you play as an amnesiac character who unlocks more and more of his memory as the game goes on, and you learn about your connection with each of the characters, especially the main female protagonist, Shion. Like the other games on the list, it boasts a great soundtrack and scenery. All around, the game is a blast to play and get through, and it doesn't have an extremely long playtime for JRPGs at around 40.5 hours. Last but definitely not least, we got Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And it is the complete opposite with an extremely long playtime, but it's understandable. This was the first Xenoblade game I had played and put a lot of time into, and good lord is there so much to do. There's 24 classes, each one can be leveled up to 20. There are many different base quests which have their own unique stories, side quests, heroes to unlock. The fusion abilities start out simple, but then each of the 6 main characters have their own version of it that you level up, giant maps, big challenges, a whole boat and ocean section. I could go on and on. This game has so much to offer, not to mention, it looks beautiful, especially given that it is on the Switch, which is a testament to Monolith. This combat is fun and makes you think a bit to make sure you have a good hero, you have the right class equipped on all the characters, and you position correctly. This is a must-play Switch title, and I think it flew under the radar a bit since it came out the same year as God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring. But all around, it is a fantastic game, with enough to keep you hooked, but not too much to bore you. That ends our video on the best modern JRPGs. What are some of your favorites in recent years? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and we will see you in the next video.